the question says that name list is a 1D array, so this is the identifier of the array, and this array is used to store string values. The programmer wants to implement binary search, and he wants to implement the binary search algorithm using recursive function. Now if you remember the video that I made on binary search, we were doing our search through the array using the while loop, right? And we were, this was not an example, this was an example of repetition, right? We were going through our loop. This was an example of repetition, right? But we don't want to implement binary search algorithm as repetition, rather we want to implement it as a recursive function. Okay, now he says that the function find takes 3 parameters: the name, right? Okay, this is the value that we want to search in our array. So name is basically what we want to search in our array. So, and then one other parameter that's being passed is start, which is obviously going to be the start of the starting index of the array, and finish is going to be the last index of the array. So basically what he's saying is that in our function find there are 3 parameters: the name, this is the value that we are going to search in the array, the starting index, and the final index, right? Okay, now he's also said that the function will return the position of the name in the list, right? So if a name, if the name that you're searching for, if that name has been found, the function will return the index value or the middle value, right? So basically you do what? Finish plus last divided by 2 equals middle, right? So it will return the index value where the name was found, right, in the array. That would be one case, and the other case is that the function would return a value of -1 in case the name is not found. Okay, so we are supposed to complete this function. Okay, and straight away we can see that in here he says return -1. Now return -1 means what? We are returning -1 if the name has not been found. Now if you remember the condition for the search fail, right? When the search used to fail, we used to say what? If start was greater than finish, that meant that our search had failed, right? So this is exactly what we are doing. If we cannot find the value, if the name is not found and we are done with our search, right, then we have to return -1. So this is giving us a hint, right? So our base case is what? That if start is greater than finish. Okay, let's move on. If this is not the case, then we have to calculate the value of middle, and middle is going to be what? First plus last divided by 2. Okay, and now once we are done with this, right, let's take a look at the rest of the code that has been given, right? Once we've calculated our middle, what we can see here is that he is saying something like if search item is greater than something. You remember we said that if search item is greater than name list, which is the name of our array, right? Is that the name of our array? Yes, so name list is the name of our array. If search item is greater than name list middle, then we have to search the forward part. So then we have to search the upper part of the array. Remember that? So this means what? Search item is greater than the name list middle, right? The current middle, right? Where so basically if search item is greater than name list middle, then we have to search through the upper half of the array, which means what? We have to modify the value of first. So what are we going to do? In this case, we want to search through the remainder of the array, right? So this was the middle, right? So we want to search through this part of the array. Now to search for the value through this part of the array, because we have to do it recursively, we are once again, whenever we have to do the search, we are going to use what? The find function. So the find function takes three parameters. It takes name as the parameter, and after name the second parameter is start. Okay, so what is the value of start going to be in this case, right? Because we have to search the upper half of the array. In this case, start would be equal to what? Middle plus 1, right? So this is the second parameter that we are going to pass, right? Middle plus 1. And what is the last parameter that we are passing? That would be finish, right? Okay, fairly logical so far. So if search item is greater than name list middle, then we have to search through the upper part of the array, and to search through the array, once again we are going to use the find function. If this is not the case, if search item is not greater than name list middle, that means what? Search item is less than name list middle, in which case once again we now have to search through the lower half of the array, right? So we have to search through this part. In this case we need to move our last to this point, right? Our middle was this, right? So in this case we need to move last to middle minus 1, right? Last is equal to middle minus 1. So once again, now that we want to search this part of the array, to search the array, the given function is what? Find. We are going to include the name that we want to find, and so start will stay unchanged, but finish is going to be modified, right? This was not last, this was finish, right? So finish is going to be equal to what? Finish is going to be equal to middle minus 1. Okay, so this time we are calling the function find with the name. The start pointer stays where it is, and instead of finish, the new value of finish is what? Middle minus 1, right? So we are passing this value and we are trying to search through the array. Okay, so what are we left with now? So what we are left with now is, this was where the search had failed. This was where we are going to search through the upper half. This is where we are going to search through the lower half. The only condition that is left is that we have found that item that we were searching for. So in this case we are going to say if search item equals what? Name list middle, right? Then return what? And he's already told us, if we found the name in the list, then we have to return the position, which element, at which element were we able to find that value, right? So basically, middle is the element, at which this search item equals. So middle is the element number, right, in our array. So in this case we are going to return what? Middle. So that's the complete solution. Hopefully you've been able to relate this to the earlier video I made on binary search.